All right, we're live. Well, recording. That works. Yeah, we're recording. Hello, everybody. Today I'm going to be watching a movie that I've already seen before. I don't remember liking it. I know that I've seen it. I remember it being at least interesting because I remember what it's about, most of the beats. But I'm not entirely sure. I want to watch it again to get a second opinion before I start just fucking trashing this movie for what I think I want to trash it about. But yeah, I'm watching a movie called Molly's Game, and it's got Jessica Chastain, Idris Elba, and Kevin Costner. And none of whom I really give a shit about. Kevin Costner was good in the 90s. Field of Dreams was a fine movie. And that's about where my interests, I guess, lie with Kevin Costner. Everybody else can go eat a bag of fucking dicks. I have no idea what the hell Idris Elba was in, other than he was supposed to be Bond, I think, at one point. He was supposed to be in one of the 007 movies, and everybody shot that down for one reason or another. So that's the only notoriety I have, in regards to him. That's the only time I think he's even come up aside from this movie, which I didn't even realize he was in until I got a physical copy of it from the library. But yeah, the director and writer of this film is Aaron Sorkin, who I really like. Aaron Sorkin. Aaron Sorkin wrote and directed one of my favorite movies of all time about baseball. It's called Moneyball, and it has Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill. Now, I know on the last episode I trashed Jonah Hill as a director. Jonah Hill is a perfectly adequate actor. He's a chubby guy, does a pretty good job of being, like the schleppy comic relief. He's good. He serves a purpose and he does it well. I don't think that he's, like the next fucking Rodney Dangerfield or anything, but he is funny and he's got wit and he's like doesn't take himself too seriously in a lot of the roles he does. But yeah, the role he plays in Moneyball is like a little bit of the same and a little bit different, and he actually kind of showed that he has range, and I respect him for that. But yeah, Aaron Sorkin turns very boring things. Like he wrote a lot of episodes of The West Wing, if not was the executive producer on The West Wing, but I know he's involved with The West Wing. I forget fucking how. But yeah, he was on the bulk of that fucking show. I gotta put my phone in another fucking room when I start doing this shit. Because it's like nobody texts me all fucking day. And then as soon as I fire the fucking mic up, everybody starts, yeah, there. Sit in the hallway. So, yeah, that should solve that. But fucking, yeah, Aaron Sorkin wrote, he wrote Moneyball, directed Moneyball, fucking wrote The Social Network. I know that was a Fincher movie, but, yeah, he had some involvement in writing the Social Network. So what he does, he takes really like drab, boring things and recontextualizes them into entertaining stories that translate well to film. And I've gotten a lot of heat actually from how much I enjoy The Social Network, but I love that fucking movie. That movie is one of those movies where if anybody in film school wants to, like they're like, well, I have to make a movie and I'm not entirely sure what to do, I would highly recommend watching The Social Network, because they take something that is incredibly boring, and it's especially boring to me because as much as I use it, I am quite resistant to technology. I think that we're over stimulated as is, and they've just been figuring out ways to get marketing more directly to the consumer, hence why we have phones that we're on apps that are constantly being bombarded with advertisement, and it's just billboards for your brain. They want to get in there. Like it's drab, it's fucking mundane, and it's like kind of destitute in a sense too, because it's like, this is what, like the future, it's kind of like this precursor to what is we're actually going through right now, and I would say in many ways suffering from this breakdown of communication where nobody really communicates directly anymore. And it's like a symptom of kind of what's explained in The Social Network. And yeah, the film translates to like a pretty it makes a really boring subject interesting and visually translates. So like I was trying to make a point before my phone started blowing up about like student films. Student films suck because they try to take really boring ideas and they just turn into boring films because they don't know how to fucking do anything. If like you were going to watch anything and be like, what should I watch because I need to make something? Like I would highly suggest the fucking Social Network. It's one of the best movies where because it takes something that is so mundane, like, and it's married into not only a really boring, two really boring arbitrations for court, where they're trying to settle basically what Mark Zuckerberg owes to his friends and the fucking Winklevoss twins. They have to fucking pepper in this like weird personal thing that was going on between him and the guy that made Napster. I forget his fucking name, but I know it's Justin Timberlake in that movie. So, but it makes it interesting. It adds spice where it's really needed. It's crucial. You're looking at like a plate of just fucking nothing, and then you put some bland shit on there, and then you got some Aaron Sorkin and sprinkle it on top of there, and then you got yourself a fucking meal. But I'm gonna ramble about this for a little bit longer. I got a few more minutes. So I've seen this movie before. It's called mOlLY's Game. It's based on a true story from what I understand. I don't know how embellished it is. Probably end up having to Google it anyway because the whole point of this is supposed to be me not like, overanalyzing the story or trying to recount everything for you. It's just supposed to be like what I take away from the movie. But lately I've been finding that I'm Googling shit more after because I either want to know more or I just want to figure out where shit went wrong. So in this case, I would like to look up Molly Bloom, who the story's based on, a little bit more, because it's an interesting one. I'm a pretty big fan of playing poker, and from what I remember about this movie, it just goes to places that it's like so far removed from what I thought it was going to be like, and it doesn't translate poker very well, in my opinion. Like, I'm sure people are gonna light me up and be like, you're a fucking amateur, you're a fucking casual, you have no idea what you're talking about, like, and that's fine. But yeah, from like my very limited experiences playing, which is once a week for the last 2 years, well, 3 years at this point, I guess I am getting old. Like I've pretty much ascertained a lot and figured out a couple of things about the game. I mean, I'm not an expert, but I do it pretty like regularly enough where I can I recognize that film Rounders, which is probably going to get heavily compared to this movie, even though they're entirely different things. Just like the way that translates gambling to, and specifically poker, that is too, because like poker and gambling are kind of like two weird things. The more you talk to poker players, the more they think that they're not gambling when in fact they're actually the most degenerates. Like, there's professional card counters that are like incredibly intelligent. 21's a good example of that. The MIT, I think, had a card counting team. And yeah, or fucking Harvard, I don't fucking remember. Some fucking college had a card counting team and they cracked Vegas for a little while. And like, that's some interesting shit. But it's because you're not gambling. You're basically, you have a fundamental understanding of arithmetic and statistics and probability. And then you understand how to hedge bets in a way where that it benefits from those statistics being in your favor. And like, there's other ways you can do it too. I would also argue that I'm a pretty staunch proponent of dice setting, not dice, fucking shaving, obviously not cheating, but like, yeah, like I think that if you have dice and you're able to control the variables in certain ways, then you can in fact predict the outcome in the game of craps. So I take that quite fucking seriously, but let's get back to poker. I remember in this game, in this movie, not this fucking game, I don't know, fucking already off to a fucking great start on this one. It's a little too cold in this room and I'm not thinking clearly, so I'm gonna have to wrap this up soon. But yeah, like I just remember Michael Cera's in this movie and his character just annoys the shit out of me for one reason or another, because there are players that are like that, but it's just, he's so cartoony and unbelievable when this is supposed to be like based on a true story. It might be lighthearted, but it's supposed to have these elements of seriousness. It's not coming off like I, Tonya, or like The Big Short or something where it's like supposed to be breaking the fourth wall constantly and making you a part of the viewing experience instead of like just a fly on the wall. Like, this is supposed to be a more like authentically narrative driven thing, and I remember Michael Cera taking me out of it a lot. I remember there's like a plot line about a dude who plays pretty regularly and never learns from his mistakes, and then one time he like hits it big or some shit. I don't know. I'm gonna watch this and I'm gonna probably take notes and just pick apart all the parts I don't like. But I'm not looking forward to this one, but it was available and I had a reason, and now I got a reason to rewatch it. So without further ado, we are watching mOlLY's Game. Well then. Oh fuck. All right. That was bad. Yeah, that was just as bad as I remembered. I don't even know where to fucking begin with this one. I don't even think I'm gonna try and compare it to other movies because this really is just on its own. It does a really good fucking job of just making you hate everybody involved in this movie. I forgot, like, the one that I really watched this movie to just despise is Michael Cera. He's a good actor. He's funny in Arrested Development. He's fine on pretty much like I enjoyed Scott Pilgrim versus the World. When you need like a goofy guy that kind of vaguely resembles a chicken, to be comic relief, or be like an awkward fellow, like super bad or whatever. He's fine. He's adequate. Whatever. But this is him trying to be a dick, and oh my god, he sucks so fucking bad at it. So let's focus on that for a minute. There's not I feel like Aaron Sorkin's so good at doing these character pieces where it is just a film that takes, like I said before, a boring subject and turns it into something more visually interesting and motivates the like what would otherwise be like rather like mundane shit like court proceedings or the process of explaining how to learn fucking pot equity. He does these like interesting little tricks to make it seem like more relatable and oversimplifying things. So yeah, like Michael Cera's character, in the first fucking I think 20 minutes of the film. Oh yeah, god damn it, this film was like 2 hours, I think 2.5 hours long, the runtime. But yeah, it's like it could have been a tight 90, and you could have gotten the fucking story out there so much faster and just really trimmed some of the fat on this. But like, I feel like this film comes off like, the book kind of comes off, which I haven't read the book, but I've read a bunch of reviews, which are like mostly like people saying that, wow, what like a crazy story. This lady really did a lot. But then there's like this underwhelming like minority where it's like, yeah, this is just a chick that really wanted to throw a temper tantrum, and did it in a very public way. And I kind of understand that perspective now. But yeah, back to fucking Chinless. Yeah, Michael Cera's character in like the first 20 minutes does something where he bluffs a guy, and like he's trying to be a dick, and it's not even a miscast. It's just like, do you understand who you're looking at? Like, there's no fucking way this guy is going to be some kind of like Hollywood hotshot that's like also savvy enough to act his way into bluffing like a good hand out of something. Like, he's just too fucking laughable. Like, if he's trying to be serious, he's laughable. If he's trying to be laughable, it's even funnier. Like, know your fucking role, dude. So that was like the major, that was the initial gripe that I thought I was going to have, but it turns out like it really uncorked a plethora of fucking problems. Yeah, this film is basically like one chick throwing like I said, a temper tantrum, about not liking her dad, for 2 hours 15 minutes, something like that. And I'm sure the book's the exact same way. The only reviews I saw on the book were like the 5 stars, and there's a couple 1 stars on Amazon which I reviewed, and it kind of seemed like that. Like a fucking a chick that doesn't like her fucking dad. It's like the same fucking thing as all these like female comedians right now that you hear about, where their entire act is 5 minutes of just Trump, and like that's the fucking punchline. Yeah, well actually let's there we go. Yeah, that was a joke. That I could fucking write for UCB or Saturday Night Live, so I'm working my way up. Let's see if I can work this podcast magic a little bit, So yeah, people seem to like it, and I'm fucking ain't right. Anyway, yeah, the goddamn, the thing was just so long, and it felt like every interesting facet of this movie was just completely overshadowed by both this chick miscalculating her worth, making mistakes, doing like making poor decisions. It could have been oversimplified and just that, yeah, watch this chick build an empire that is like I don't even know. There's not even a fucking analogy I can make. She built herself up so fucking well, but then every chance for like advancement, she just shoots herself in the fucking foot. And then there's this analogy with her being like attempting to be an Olympic athlete that they start the film with, which is like, we interviewed a bunch of people and asked them what's the most heartbreaking loss or whatever, and she's like coming in fourth at the Olympics. First off, the literal translation of that from the film is you didn't even fucking come in fourth. You fucked up on your last heat, and you didn't even get to go. So there's no Olympic thing. Like, you made it into the trials, you made it into like one of the final rounds, but you still didn't get to go. So you didn't even get the opportunity to come in fourth. You done fucking goofed. And it's like, at no fault of her own. That's really what happened. The fucking ski popped off or whatever, and that jeopardized her career. I don't fucking know. But yeah, she from like, that is supposed to be like a metaphor, or at least like the initial taste in your mouth that this movie gives you, and then it just is completely undermined by every other action that she does throughout the film, which, I can't fault Aaron Sorkin or like, anybody. He wrote the film, but she ultimately wrote the book. Yeah, like, so right off the bat, Idris Elba's her lawyer. And all she does is, because she had some like fascination with being a lawyer at one point in her life, that's like some clinging point, where she's like, oh my god, like, there's a passing line at the very end where she's like, I'm 12 credits short of being an astronomer. I didn't even know that. It's like, bitch, yes you did, you fucking liar. You just want, it's like this negative attention that, like, you could just call this movie negative attention, because that's all that every character seems to thrive on, but never learn anything from said negative attention. So yeah, she keeps fighting with her lawyer, too much to like my chagrin. He should have just dropped her. She researched the lawyer, and then like only hooks up, or not hooks up with, but like only links up and uses him as her legal counsel, because she trusts him, because he's like not really flappable when it comes to like certain indictment related shit that she's going through currently. So she's done her homework, is what that's implying, but then every fucking step of the way proceeds to tell the guy how to do his job. And at one point, like, a public defender wouldn't tolerate that, let alone like a dude who, this chick has no money and is now getting this dude to basically, like, bending this dude over in exchange for doing pro bono work, from what I understand. I'm not entirely sure if that's accurate. I don't even think that like the way that they portrayed most of the legal proceedings in this would be, accurate. But yeah, I just, like, she keeps fucking undermining her lawyer. Like, you hired this guy. Why are you hiring him? Like, if you think that you have some, like I get it, like, a lawyer's a liaison, so he's the liaison to the DA, who the DA is then like the liaison to the judge, and it's just like a chain of command, and kind of, you got to kind of answer to it. So like, me as John Q. Citizen, I don't have any fucking bearing on what happens in the courtroom, because I'm not like certified. I'm not an attorney. I don't have a bar association thing. That's not who I am. I'm fucking knocking this out of the park with the fucking vocabulary. Fucking killing it with the soundboard today, though. I'm fucking right on with that. But yeah, like, so she needs legal counsel for one reason or another, but if, like, all she wants to do is tell the legal counsel how to do her job, why didn't she just go for someone cheaper that's also unflappable? You think that lawyers aren't, like, everywhere? Like, you can find a lawyer just by, like, turning your phone on at this point. Like, how the fuck... So anyway, so after her breaking her lawyer's balls and telling him how to do her job, you kind of like you start learning that she not burns, but just for some, and like, this is another thing too. The fucking hubris seems to be the overarching motif, or one of them at least, of this film. Hubris. It's initially kind of set up with her dad, played by Kevin Costner, who, by the way, his acting saves this fucking movie. Like, the last little bit I could do without, but like, for the love of fucking God, like, if I was just gonna have to watch this chick force herself to cry because she fucked up, and like, what it boils down to is that he's estranged from the family, and it's been set up that his hubris is the reason that the family is kind of, split up, and the mom divorces him, and the daughter hates him, and the kids kind of resent them or whatever. That's and then it comes full circle with him at the end, where he reconnects with Molly, and fucking is, I guess, supposed to be like there for her after way too fucking long because he's peripherally following the case, which you're never even introduced to because this movie takes too fucking long on every fucking other aspect of this fucking case except the interesting shit like, hey, all these other indictments that are going on that are like, related to the mafia in which this chick was intertwined with, like, why don't we kind of figure out what's going on with them? Like, and you have like a little more vested interest in like why she's in such peril and why she continues to make these poor decisions for seemingly no other reason than to be a martyr for her own cause, which isn't even really her cause. It's supposed to be this like conduit through the lawyer's daughter. So she's giving a good role model for the lawyer's daughter, which is, I guess, supposed to represent like children or young girls or something like that. I don't really know. But like I said, going back to the motif of hubris, her own hubris is the only thing that she's limited by, and she continues to fucking use it as much as she can throughout the movie to just continue to set herself back further as the story progresses, which is fucking hilarious. I love a movie where somebody's like, oh yeah, this is done in the guise of empowerment, but then really like pulls out the fucking carpet from underneath you and is like, oh yeah, no, she really fucked herself and then did everything in her power to continue to fuck herself down the road. There's many outs that she had, and as somebody that was like, so savvy with card games despite never playing one, she should have been able to fucking see the hand, in front of her, but she doesn't, and she continues to just keep fucking up because of feminism. or like, maybe not even feminism. I think you could boil it down to she just hates her fucking dad. Which, like, that's the hubris right there. That's honestly what it is. Like, you could have completely avoided this story and had, like, it would have been a light cautionary tale of, like, yeah, maybe don't get involved with people that are involved in organized crime or facilitate, illegal gambling games under the guise of it being a home game. Like, I don't know. So maybe I should explain a little bit of what, like, poker hosting is. Like, when you're when you're a host, what you're doing is you're really just like you're finding players that like to play with each other so that you can get a game going. Because the lower the lower the stakes, it's like really anybody will come over and play. But like when you get up to like 2.5, 5.10 shit like that, I think that they were saying that buy-in was like 10,000 with re-rate, so $10,000 increments. So yeah, it was like 50, 100 or something like that. You need like a certain echelon of people that would also stay consistent because like the sharks will get the action they're looking for, and then the fish are gonna. Or excuse me, I'm trying to use their terminology too. They really fuck this up. They keep calling them fish or sharks and I think it's like whales are soft big targets that you're looking for. They're people that are really rich that are soft targets. And then there's sharks, which are like more tighter players that are gonna cannibalize the whales, or whatever. I don't fucking know. It's just there's good players and fucking bad players, and everybody has bad fucking days. I don't know why I'm trying to justify poker in the guise of like making this movie make sense, but anyway, there's like I don't fucking she could have just like at many opportunities throughout this movie just like severed ties with everybody and is like, hey, I now have this knowledge on how to do things, and it like avoided the criminality entirely, but instead she got like her dad like oversimplifies it for her at the end. Kevin Costner gives her this thing about like how she was addicted to like the power of controlling powerful men, which is accurate. And then he's like, just kidding. Like it wasn't really what he meant. He was just trying to evoke a response out of her. As psychologists do, it's a pseudoscience. You're not really looking to solve any problems. You're just trying to evoke people's problems so that they can get it out and then carry on with their day. That's really what a psychologist is. It's the same fucking thing as a punching bag. It's just for your mind. It's catharsis. It's what I'm doing right now. It's externalizing problems in the form of something else. So anyway, back to that. Yeah, he they're trying to like he contextualizes shit for her like that, and then she's like, but that's not what I did. It's like, no, actually every fucking up until the hour and 45-minute mark that we're at in this movie, that's exactly what you were doing. And instead of you just being normal about it and being like, okay, well, I have this really good game running, I should try and like keep up with the consistency and maybe like find a way to legitimize it like a normal person would do. No, she continues like not only burning the people that helped facilitate the game in the first place, but then trying to like undertake a bigger game in a more even dirtier mob controlled area. Like she goes from LA to New York. I don't fucking play in poker clubs. I go to a casino and then, like, the occasional poker night around here, but like I know that there are card clubs in Manhattan and Brooklyn and shit. And they're kind of tight knit. Like, you got to know a fucking way to get in there. So you just fucking think you're gonna, like, if I showed up and took everything out of the fucking bank and showed up and started a fucking poker table on a street corner there, not only would I fucking get robbed immediately because it's New York, but like, yeah, someone would come over and break my fucking legs or shoot me in the shoulder or some shit. Yeah, because fuck you, you're making money off of our turf and our action. The fact that she didn't get beat up earlier into the movie is more confusing than the fact that she got beat up and instead of going to the police or, fucking seeking medical attention, she just that's the other thing too, man. There's so many fucking funny moments in this where it's just her doing like the dumbest fucking shit, one of which is she has a two deadbolts on her fucking door plus a locking handle, and then just opens the door without looking through the peephole to just get a gun shoved in her face. Like, okay, yeah, all right, that's a thing. That's a thing. You're in a really secure like hotel with or a apartment complex, not even apartment complex, apartment building, in Manhattan overlooking Central Park, and you're telling me some fat greasy wop can walk in there with a gun because he paid off the door guy and the door guy paid off for driver, and that's really what it is. It was it was just one of those fucking moments, and like I think the there's like a part too where she tries to introduce the driver guy's friends to the game, and she's like, I noticed they were actors or whatever, and they're from Jersey Boys and they're trying to act tough or whatever. And then she immediately so her assessment of the situation, how she thought she was savvier and the smartest person in the room, ends up getting a gun shoved in her face after she got beat to a fucking pulp. Like, how can you fucking like how are you supposed to believe the martyrdom at the end when it's just like am I supposed to feel bad for her because she keeps making mistakes? Like, no, it's I laugh at your fucking stupidity and revel in your fucking pain because it's fucking hilarious. I don't know what the fucking message of this movie was other than that you use this as a fucking framework for how to not fuck your life up. Like, it's fantastic. And I like too that there's not really like much explicit drug use, but the one fucking thing that they somehow draw on is that her name is Molly, and there's some guy that's like implicated in the fucking the FBI's case or whatever, SEC's case, I guess. He's asking for Molly, like the drug. He's like, it's MDMA. No, he doesn't say it's MDMA. He says it's ecstasy. And like, I don't know, my little fucking nerd's like, Molly isn't quite ecstasy. Ecstasy is a little dirtier. It kind of fucked up there. It's one of those moments where in the hands of a more capable writer or director, somebody that's fucking actually worked on movies before, this could have been cut down into a way more interesting film. All that aside, it's not like not entertaining. If you like laughing at other people, this is a fucking excellent movie for you. I genuinely do like pointing and laughing at dumb people, especially when it's a movie like this based on a true story where somebody just fucks up in a very public way, and the general consensus is you're supposed to feel bad for them. But no, it's like if you look at what they did on paper and try to follow their like logic and then realize it's like, oh yeah, they're just a fucking moron that's full of themselves. Like, really, that's what this is, and I am grinning ear to ear. This is like this reminds me more, like, I was gonna compare it to Rounders, obviously, like, because it's a poker movie, but I forgot, like, she never plays a fucking hand of poker in this entire thing, nor does she ever really explain. Like, Rounders does a really good job of explaining how the game works and like why people are like a little cagey about playing it, but like, well, also in the esteem of like it's a very accessible thing to do. So like they set that framework up like beautifully, whereas this, it's like they have to explain what a boat is, like a full house versus like a full house, but then not explaining like the bluff catching, which is like explain what a fucking re-raise is before you start explaining what like a fucking showdown or a river re-raise would be, especially for an all-in situation like that. And plus, like, I don't think with a professional dealer, if a card was exposed, the dealer would A, say nothing, and then B, let someone grab you. Like, that would get floor regardless of if you're at a casino or at a private game. Like, you don't touch the dealer. There's a lot of precautions that are taken into keeping the game transparent and honest, and one of which is that you don't fucking touch the dealers, let alone grab their hands. So that would have like gotten someone's nose broken before the guy even got the ability to over leverage himself. Fuck, I'm running out of time here. But yeah, it's an adequate movie. If you like Aaron Sorkin, if you're a fan of Moneyball or The Social Network, I highly recommend you check it out. But yeah, when push comes to shove, this is a really good one if you just want to like turn your brain off and fucking laugh at other people. It's not a mind-blowing story. It's actually a pretty a pretty cut and dry story. It's just way too fucking long, and if they would have focused on the more pertinent details, they would have had a better product, and I probably would have praised it. But no, I'm giving this like a 4 out of 10, and Molly Bloom can go fuck herself. I'm glad her brothers got further than she did in the Olympics. And that's my time. Thanks for listening. listening